Live chat. Oh yes, here I go, here I go, here I go. Yes, yes. All right, I'm doing this stream now before I forget basically. Man, I lost a shulker box full of stuff. I hope it wasn't important stuff. It's probably just crap, but still. Like the crap you need in order to build a house. Here, I need more oak. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Yeah. So what's this conversation, dude, that you're talking about? Dude. so so I go out there and I'm smoking, and then the neighbor walks up and starts talking to me. I'm like, okay, cool. Talks about he had like shoulder surgery. I'm like, oh, cool. And he's like, telling me what he does for pain and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. Uh, and then we both start complaining about the cost of healthcare because what else are you gonna do, right? Like it's ridiculous. So I tell him about my experiences. I lived in France, and um, I lived in France, and I knew a guy who went to the hospital when I was I was a student in France. I was a student in France, and in 1997, and one of the kids on our program, like, got sick. I think he's from Boston, and he got like normal kid, rah. And then one day he doubles over in pain and like collapses, and like they rush him to the hospital, and turns out he has like a benign tumor growing inside his intestine, and had been growing slowly over time, like undetectable, until the moment when it grew so big that it blocked off like his intestine, and so it was like emergency surgery before he dies, right? And then like he's in the hospital for 2 weeks and he comes out, and the whole thing is like $200, $500, or something like that, something hella cheap, something like emergency cancer surgery and 2 weeks stay in the hospital, like for under $1,000. Like it was absurd in France. And then in Japan in 2007 at 9 o'clock at night, I had an asthma attack, and my Japanese neighbors took me to the Japanese hospital nearby. so and uh and yeah, uh um so I basically got an IV, and like the staff on hand like evaluated me. I mean, it was pretty Spartan, right, compared to like what Americans are used to. like, like the emergency room I was in was like a tiny room with like 10 other cots. They weren't beds, they were cots, hard, and they were pretty hard. Like they weren't like very well padded cots. They're like more like padded benches. And then the pillow they gave you wasn't really a pillow, it was a foam block. I kid you not, dude. It was a block of foam. They don't even give you it's not even a pillow, it's a block of foam. And so like it was summertime, so it was pretty hot, right? It wasn't like that was like blankets were a problem or anything. But yeah, and like they evaluated me, and like, you know, were insinuating that I was drunk, and I'm like, I had something to drink, yes, but I think that precipitated the asthma attack. So like they prescribed me like an asthma inhaler and the meds and stuff, and the whole thing was like $20. $20 for like middle of the night like emergency room visit. and then like the meds were like $5. It was like ridiculous. So I was telling him all my experiences, like, and then going to see the doctor in France. Like the doctor's office was like, you know how like the doctor's office was basically just like a room built off of his home, the doctor's house. You went to the doctor's house, but instead of going to his house, you go into his office, which is like, and he didn't have any disposable stuff. All his tools were like metal, and then like after he used them, there was a machine he put them in to what's it called? To sterilize them so he could use them again. Like it was all old school stuff, is what I'm saying. But he was a doctor, man, and he worked from home. It was great. And he was in France, right? Like, and in France, hey, what's up, Chantal? What's up? What's up? I'm talking about my experiences. Um, and then like with healthcare, right? Because like my neighbor just had a shoulder surgery, and like it's gonna fix his shoulder right up, like make him brand new, right? But in the meantime, he's in pain. It sucks. And then so we were talking about like the cost of healthcare, and then I was explaining to him that it's only expensive here in the United States, and I've been to other countries and I've like lived it. I've lived it. Like healthcare is only a weird thing here in the United States. It's not a big deal in other countries. And and then he's like, yeah. Then the question came, yeah. Why isn't it? Why can't we take care of it here in the United States? And then that's where things went off the rails. That's where I was trying to find common ground with him, but as soon as you try to like, and we both like we were both on board with each other, with healthcare, the whole way. We're on board with each other the whole way up until it came to like, well, why is healthcare so expensive? Why? And he immediately went to blame government. And to his credit, he didn't single out the Democrats, but he did. He singled out the Democrats. He singled out Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. He didn't talk at all about the Republicans. So, and then he got really, really upset. As soon as we started going to the why of things, he got real upset. And like super upset. And he started saying a bunch of stuff really quickly. He was saying that, like, complaining about the like a whole bunch of people from South America and Mexico flooding over the borders. He was so concerned about that. He was so angry about that. And then he's like, and then he said that the government would give them free housing and a stipend and everything. And he was so angry about that because the American people aren't getting like the help they need, while the government is doing this. And he was all angry because he said that Joe Biden is giving Ukraine like millions and millions and millions of dollars. Like when the American people aren't getting anything. And I was like, man, dude, where are you getting your information from? And he said, I get it from social media. Oh no, oh no. And I'm like, oh no, and you get your information from social media? And he's like, yeah, it's all over social media. I'm like, for your social media, do you realize that the way social media looks for you is totally individualized for you and not at all what it's like for someone else? Do you know that? And but he was beyond reason at that point. I couldn't even talk to him, right? He was so angry. And he was like cursing like at the American government, the US government. He was totally blaming all of government, and he wanted to fire everyone in Washington D.C. Like, and I said Republican and Democrat. He's like, yes, both sides. Like, but he only hated on Democrats when he talked. He only hated on Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, which incidentally are the targets, the traditional targets of the right wing. And then so like, and I asked, so like it was impossible to like talk to him about anything. It was impossible. I was trying to say, well, don't you see like that? Don't you believe that one side is trying to help the government, help people, and the other side is stopping the help? But you couldn't talk to him about that, because if you can talk to him and show him, you're like, oh look, Democrats wanted to do this, but Republicans blocked it, or Republicans cut the program, like instead, like both sides are not the same. But for him, he couldn't see that, right? For him, it was all, both sides were exactly the same. Republicans were exactly the same as Democrats. So for him, he was mired in false equivalence. He could not see anything other than like He couldn't see anything. He, like he believed his social media was the truth. Yeah, he believed his social media was the truth. And like, so like, I was like, how can I talk to this guy? I'm like, if we could be on Facebook and show links back and forth to one another so we're not shouting at each other, maybe we could do it. But like, he was too crazy at that point. And then this other right-wing couple comes up, like while we're talking. And then the husband dude says something. And then I respond. And as I'm responding, his wife jumps in and starts like, cuts me off and starts like blaming me for everything. And then I'm like, sure, whatever. Okay, fine. You don't want me to talk for this? You don't want to talk? Fine, don't talk. She doesn't stop talking. She's like, you will respect me, as she disrespects me. I'm like, oh man. See, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to discuss the why of what's going on. If you try to even talk about what's going on, people get like crazy. People get crazy. You can't even talk about the why. It's like that guy was so concerned, that one guy was so concerned about the migrants coming over the border that he didn't notice that Republicans were going to close down the government and then shut down the border guard that stops people from coming over. He didn't even see that. He didn't even see that the Republicans were going to shut down the border guard because when they shut down the government, he couldn't even see that. He was so busy blaming Democrats and Joe Biden. He couldn't even see what was going on. And I couldn't talk to him. There's no talking to him. He was a flaming ball of anger. And as soon as I try to talk to that other guy, his wife like cuts me off. Dude, it's crazy. Like, so... Wow, look at these guys. Oh, I need to get a shield so you can waste all your shots. Ow. Yeah. So, that was crazy, man. That was like unexpected. Like, I didn't even anticipate that would happen. But he engaged me. He started the conversation, and it logically, inevitably went to like we had common ground. And when we tried to figure out, well, why do we have this problem? He didn't accept anything. He was insistent that we had made no progress in the United States. This man, as he was recovering from a shoulder surgery, where they're basically going to fix his shoulder to be like 100%, like, whereas before it was hurting him chronically. Like, and he was staying inside of a building built to code, to government code, so it wouldn't collapse on him or he would die in it, right? And these government codes also make it so that the water he drinks is clean, and that the place isn't going to burn down and kill him and his family in his sleep. Like, he's literally surrounded by good government and progress. He's like all around him. He's recovering from surgery because we've progressed in medicine so much that we can repair people's broken shoulders. like routinely. It's like a routine thing now. Like, oh, you need a new shoulder? No problem. Then he doesn't even see it. He's like, no, we've made no progress. We're all talking about these amazing drugs that he's taking to kill the pain. He's like, no, back in the day, they didn't even have antibiotics. People died from infection all the time for the stupidest of things. Ah! Of course we made progress. Of course, but this guy is so demoralized. That's the thing what I want to tell you about. He is like the example of the perfect example of a demoralized American where he can't tell any differences between anything, and there's no truth for him. All he is he's just he just reacts emotionally to triggers. There's pre-programmed triggers, and he reacts to them very, very emotionally, and that's it. Like, and it's set up like a fence, right? If you talk to him like about anything else, he's a super cool guy. It's cool. But if you ever start getting close to like, oh, why are things fucked up? Why is it this way? Then that's when the rage takes over. That's when the rage takes over. I tried to talk to him, and then they're just bad actors, like that one woman who cut me off to disrespect me, and then tell me that I had to respect her. But I was just trying to say, okay, whatever, just drop it, and she wouldn't drop it. Oh man, I was trying to like. Once she started saying she didn't want to talk, didn't want to hear it, I was fine. I'm like, fine, let's just drop it. But she kept going and putting it on me. And then saying, you can't talk. Yeah, right? So, man, it's gonna be bad this coming election. Well, hopefully, let's hope that Donald Trump's trial is moved forward. Recently, he made a threat to General Miley, and he said that General Miley ought to be hung for treason. That's weird, because Donald Trump is indicted for trying to overthrow the government, and General Miley is a witness to that. That sounds like witness intimidation, witness tampering. He's trying to get witnesses not to. Oh no! What have you done, man? What are you doing? Where are you going? This guy, look at him! Look at him! He stole a minecart. He's like, I'm out of here. Runaway train never going back. The wrong way on a one-way track. Oh, I missed. Yeah. It was terrible, man. We were having a good conversation. Nice. It was like he initiated it too. I didn't talk. I didn't start it. He started it, and it was cool. We all agreed up until the why. Why is healthcare so expensive? And then it went off the rails. We couldn't talk about why things are the way they are. Yeah, man, I don't know what you're doing here. Right? There's nothing here. Get out of here. So that was a bummer. I mean, I know why, right? I study it all the time. But he couldn't hear any of it. He couldn't hear any of it. Because in his mind, social media is the truth. Well, his social media is the truth. Yeah, he was telling me like Biden falling asleep. I'm like, what? You mean Biden who like went on a whirlwind tour of all these countries conducting foreign policy? He's done like amazing job foreign policy. That Biden? Man. Are you telling me that Man, see, that's the thing. He's in his echo chamber. He's in a social media echo chamber. That's what I was trying to explain to him. It's like you're in a social media echo chamber. Let's see if I can get this guy to live somewhere else. I don't want you living here, man. Like, just because it's on social media doesn't mean it's true. I mean, if it links to a story, maybe. But then, what story do you link to, right? You gotta. It's not true because it's on social media. It might be true. It might be credible if it's in a credible from a credible source. But like, social media itself isn't like a credible source. Can I do with the? Can we do this? Oh yeah, we can. Hey, dude. No, come over here. Oh wait, there's not. It's empty. I wonder why. Oh no, where did that guy go? I lost my boat, right? Yeah, I did lose my boat. I don't know where it went. And he just went back down. Ah! He's like loser. Ah, see ya, loser. Watch, he'll be down there again. Oh, there's the boat. Okay. Chantal. Sean Short. Chantal. Sean Short. Chantal. Where did that guy go? Where did he go, dude? Just like booked it. Bummer, dude. That was a bummer. Hey, okay. Here, get in this boat. Alright, so I'm going to send you to the Warded Grove. Let's see if we can do this. Let's do this, damn it. Oh no, what happened to me? Okay, I want you to get into that minecart. It will take you where you need to go. But you gotta get in. No! Shit. Come, where are you going, dude? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd he go? Did he just disappear? No, he's right there. I got him. Oh. Come on, man. Come up here. It's like, I'm not going to follow you just because you're there. You should. It's nice up here. Come on, dude. Get in the boat. Here, what I need is like a bed or something to like lure him, like or a workstation. I got a workstation. All right, here, guy, check it out. Ooh, a job. Right? Yeah, dude, it sucked. I tried to tell him about like my real life experience, And he invalidated all of it with social media. He's like, "Fuck your real life experience. I have social media." That's the bummer of it, right? That's the bummer of it. It's like, "Hey neighbor, I have all this like real life experience that's relevant." And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's like, "No, it's worthless because I have social media." Psych, it's in here now. Can you come in here? Does this stop you? Oh, he's right there. Okay, where are you going, dude? Come up here. Oh yeah, I don't have any mine carts. My poor cat, dude. Sucks he has to live with me. He's like an outdoor cat. He needs like a backyard or like a family or something, and like not a guy, like a single guy who lives in an apartment. We're just not a good match. I never wanted this thing. I didn't even want the cat. All right. Like, is this broken? Maybe it's broken. I don't know it. Let me check. Does it even work? Yeah, it's full. That part works at least. Oh no. Shit. Alright, here, go back. Yeah, dude, it sucked. It sucked. This place. Oh, yeah, the it's not there. Why isn't it there, dude? It should click. So there must be something broken here, which is what I must investigate. Why didn't you click up? Okay, bop, 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 bop. What's that? I don't know. Oh, this is like the wrong thing. Okay. Goes like I need more redstone. I need more redstone. So I'm trying a few new things, like all the things. Hopefully it works. Bop, like that. There we go. That's the way it should be. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Nani? Pourquoi pas? Okay. You're full of... Oh yeah, dude, we're full. We got too many minecarts. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Swiftly Taken. Yes, you were like here like the other day, right? We were talking about video cards. Hey. Of course I remember you. Of course. Today I'm using rate control on settings, and I think it helps a lot. It stops the card from spiking so much. But yeah. Okay. So now that part's taken care of. I now need to find the villager who like went somewhere, I don't know. But yes, of course I remember you, Swiftly Taken. Swiftly taken in the night. I was lamenting a bad experience I just had with my neighbor. I tried to talk about like the reasoning why we have such high healthcare costs, and like it went badly. Well, this guy's like job site is here, but I don't know where that guy went. He probably got zombified. Oh yeah, these guys might have killed him. Ow. Ow. For real, they're gonna kill me. Of course, dude, of course I was talking, I told you. You're the video card guy the other day. We talked about stuff like that. And Minecraft. Well, that sucks. I was gonna get all set up to bring that guy to another place, but he disappeared. He wandered off. And now I don't know where he is. Never forget me. You'll always be the guy I've chatted with about video cards. AMD versus Intel. Hey, I hear that AMD is going to release, I think tomorrow. They're gonna release tomorrow a 2 games that use FSR 3.0. So I'm like, oh, that sucks. I thought I was going to be able to use it on everything, but I guess not. I think it's only DirectX 11 and 12 games. Not OpenGL games like this. Yeah, why don't we have universal health care? Why don't we? Well, we started to with Obamacare, but then the Republicans took power and dismantled it. I don't even know how that did Obamacare. I don't know if that was any good. But I think it was like the first step toward like a universal health care. And it was funny because Obamacare was a Republican plan. Obamacare is Romney Care, and Romney Care was the Heritage Foundation plan from the 90s. So it's like it was a Republican plan, guys. But remember, it's really like you can't talk to some people. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Can you do a barrel roll? I mean, like I can try. So, like, this is like a twist, right? That's not a barrel, or like a barrel roll is like when you like go up to, and then like I don't know. Yeah, I have enough durability. Man, I didn't even mean it to be about politics. I mean, I know PC and Minecraft stuff, right? I can talk to you about that. Like, but here, you want to know what politics is like? Have you been playing? Do you know about the game Baldur's Gate 3? Have you heard about the game Baldur's Gate 3? Swiftly Taken. Have you played that game? It's a really really fun game. But I used to play Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, so that's why maybe it's a little nostalgia for me. But it's a great game, and in this game, so spoiler warning, right? In this game, you have to travel to a land, part of a forest, but the forest was cursed by a goddess, and the curse is called the Shadow Curse, and it makes it so that all natural, like all light, is snuffed out forever, like, and if you go in the darkness with no light, you like lose your mind, and you become shadow undead. Like literally, the shadow just kills you. The shadow kills you. The darkness kills you, and drives you crazy if you stay out in it too long. Like you can do it a little bit, it only hurts you. But if you stay out in it, if you get caught out in the darkness, you die. You turn into a shadow undead creature. And when I first started doing my show, before Donald Trump's like first and second impeachment, before Donald Trump was impeached, I was warning people that there was going to be a storm coming. That a storm was coming, and it was going to make it like hard to understand things. But unfortunately for me, another group came along later called QAnon, and they used the same idea of the storm. And so it sucks. I got drowned out by a bunch of like QAnon people. So, but I think better than the storm analogy, I think is the shadow curse analogy. The shadow curse analogy. That the land, we live under a shadow curse. And if you're in the darkness for too long, you like lose the ability to like you come back. You lose your mind. Like I couldn't even talk to this guy. Wanted to talk to me. He talked to me. He's the one who started the conversation. Like I just went out there to smoke, and he started talking to me. So I was like, sure, I'll talk to you guys. It's nice. And then we were talking about his shoulder, and then we're talking about like pain remedies for the shoulder. and then like we got started talking about like the cost of healthcare and the cost of pharmaceuticals. How why is, and then wait, you're gonna pretend what you're talking about? What you're gonna pretend you know what I'm talking about, or anyways, it's just an analogy. It's a story, right? It's just a story, like about the shadow curse. But you can use that idea. You can use the idea of the shadow curse to like explain what's going on with Americans. Like, why is it that guy who was so upset about, oh yeah, that's the other thing I told him. That's the other thing I told him. He was so focused on immigrants coming over the southern border. I told him, hey, did you know that 50% of the illegal immigration to the United States is by airplane? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, dude, people, mainly Europeans, or sometimes like Asians, they will fly on a plane on a tourist visa to the United States, and then they just never go back. That's all they do. They just never go back. They come on a visa, on a plane, and they never go back. But for some reason, this guy was never concerned about that half of the immigration. Only the half of the immigration that came over the southern border. And I'm like, don't you find that weird? He's like, no, he said to me, because he said they're no different. And I'm like, of course they're different, because remember, he has a shadow curse on him. So he's stuck with false equivalence. For him, everything looks the same as everything else. So he's like, oh yeah, they're the same. The people who come over on airplanes and stay illegally are the same as the people who come over the border illegally, over land, the southern border. And I'm like, no, dude, no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not at all. The people who come on planes and overstay their visas tend to be white and European. If they're coming on planes, right? They tend to be white and European. That's why you don't see them. Because they're white and European. And he didn't like that at all. He got real angry at that. I'm sorry you're very tired, dude. I don't know what to say. Thank you for watching my show. I hope like what I'm telling you is like, I don't know. I'm just trying to share with you my experience. I'm trying to talk to my fellow Americans, and they are some of them are so demoralized, like that it's impossible to talk to them. Now here, you have to understand, when I say, oh, they're demoralized, what am I even talking about? They're demoralized. What does that mean? All right, this isn't my idea, right? This is an idea from the Russians. The Russians came up with this. Let me see where I'm looking at. Now, remember, the Russians could never, ever, ever defeat the United States militarily. They could never do it militarily. Never, never. So instead, what they tried to do was to get the Americans to give up on themselves. Because the ideas of freedom, justice, and liberty, those are ideals, and they're great. And we make them real by living them. But their existence is a threat to oligarchs, to Russia, to the powers that be that ruled Russia. So they devised a way to attack the United States without using the military. Instead, they attacked the American mind, the American brain. They try to get Americans to give up on the idea of truth. Because if they can get Americans to give up on the idea of truth, then they give up on the idea of democracy. So this isn't a new thing. They've been doing it for a long time. And it started like there was a guy who defected from the USSR, Russia, to the United States in the 1980s, and he was part of the KGB, which is the secret police in Russia. And he gave an interview, and he explained to the Americans this Russian technique of what they do to Americans. And I'm going to show you right now.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand.
There's nothing to do with espionage. Only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other 85% is a slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black, you still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of the United States society. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption, whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely.
All right, so that whole thing, Yuri Bezmenov is explaining what the Russians were trying to do to the Americans in the 1980s. But the problem was, in the 1980s, there wasn't a very the media landscape was heavily gatekept. Heavy gatekeepers. Like, not anyone had access to a radio station to broadcast. Like, not everyone had access to a printing press to publish newspapers. Not everyone had a TV station to broadcast their own images and messages across to a mass audience. Mass media was controlled by the very few. So when the Russians came along into the American market, they didn't have like a whole lot of like purchase. They didn't have a whole lot of ability to broadcast their message across the internet, right? Like, you can try to like destabilize Americans and demoralize Americans, but like, who's gonna pick up your janky newspaper like back in the day? No one's gonna read your stupid newspaper because it costs too much money to get a like real kind of circulation. Like, there's no way. Well, suddenly the internet happened, and all of a sudden now everyone has a microphone, everyone has a camera, and everyone is exposed to all these ideas that they would not be exposed to before. And so it becomes like a problem to like find out which information sources are credible. But like, there's a lot of people who are conspiracy theory minded and they believe in conspiracy theories, and like the internet just like is like wonderful for like spreading conspiracy theories, because like, yeah, you on purpose don't believe in the traditional news sources. on purpose. And so, yeah, there's no end of people who will tell you fanciful stories on the internet if your mind is going to be like open to anything. So the Russians were like, oh, look, it's now cheap and easy to spread false information to Americans, and their brains are wide open to it. So the process of demoralization really took off in like 2015, 2016, in the lead up to Donald Trump seizing power. Yeah. And you can see the example of demoralization in this guy, this my neighbor, who I tried to talk to, and it was fine, up until the moment we start discussing the why. Why are things this way? And he just exploded. And for him, at that point, false equivalence was everything. Nothing looked any different than anything else. It was all bad. He couldn't see the fact that he wasn't going to die from his surgery because of antibiotics. He couldn't even see the fact that he had surgery to repair his busted shoulder. He couldn't see that the nice warm like place where he lives that's not going to burn down and collapse on him because we have housing codes, building codes. Like he's going to take a nice hot shower because of the regulations that the water be clean and the plumbing be good. Like, oh my gosh, he doesn't even see. And he says there's no progress. It's like that's a demoralized person. Of course there's progress. But if you lose the ability to make distinctions with your mind, then you're lost. And that's what's happened. He's lost the ability to make distinctions. He believes social media is just as credible as everything else. In fact, social media is more credible to him because it agrees with what he believes. Yeah, it must be true. It's all over his social media. Unbeknownst to him, who controls social media? It's an echo chamber, man. It's designed to do that. It's on purpose it does that. It's like a manipulation machine. You have to be real careful of social media. Like, just because it's on social media doesn't mean it's true. Damn, man, that's like basic stuff. But he was fixated. The Fox News had programmed he was pre-programmed. He had his pre-biases. He hated his triggers, right? He had triggers. Like Nancy Pelosi was a trigger. Dude, she's not even Speaker of the House anymore. All she is a regular ass senator. Like, who's not even indicted, who's not even a criminal. I can understand if he was going off on that Menendez dude, right? That guy should like fucking resign. And that's what's funny is that a bunch of Democratic senators are saying resign. Do you know how many Republican senators are calling for Menendez to resign? 0. You know why 0 Republicans are calling him to resign? Because their dudes are all guilty of fraud too. No. In fact, Donald Trump just lost his organization, Trump Organization in New York, because he was guilty of fraud. He was overvaluing his company in order to get bigger loans. So yeah, that's like a civil indictment. It's not criminal, but like, yeah, wow. Oh, oops. Oh, I didn't crash. So yeah, I mean, I'm just like, I'm sad that I couldn't talk to this guy, and he's going to vote for Donald Trump in the election. He says he doesn't like either side, but he really means he's a Republican. He's because all his hate was for Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. She's not even Speaker of the House anymore, man. She's got no power. Not any more power than any other Democrat. And you weren't even mad at the one who was a criminal. You were mad at Nancy Pelosi. Like, it's so funny. That means, look how programmed he is. He's not even mad at the Democratic senator who's literally indicted as a criminal. He's only mad at Nancy Pelosi, who's like nothing. She's nothing. She's just another one. Why not be mad at like any other random fucking like senator? Why Nancy Pelosi? At least if you're mad at Jeffries, he's the speaker. He's like the leader of the Democrats now. It was Nancy Pelosi, but now it's Jeffries. Why aren't you mad at Jeffries? He's the one who actually controls the direction of the Democratic Party. Why don't you fucking get mad at him? Why do you get mad at Nancy Pelosi, dude? That's hilarious. Why don't you get mad at the one Democrat, the Democrat who's dirty? That's why he's indicted. Like, oh my God, that's because he's demoralized, man, and he's been pre-programmed with these triggers to make him have these emotional responses to Nancy Pelosi, to Joe Biden, and I bet you to Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. I bet you, Bill and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. He'll have emotional triggers to them too. Like, none of them are indicted. None of them have any criminal record to them, but he'll be fucking angry about them. Angry, super angry. And he won't talk about Donald Trump, like, literally trying to overthrow the government. Probably because he supports it. So what does that make him? You see, these are dangerous questions, man. Dangerous questions. Like, nah, he thinks social media is truth. That's why I can't talk to him. And that's why he was so angry. And I couldn't, like, it was like there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do. He really was, like, demoralized. And I'm like, isn't there any common ground with us? And he refused to acknowledge that there was common ground between he and I. I'm like, what? We're both American, dude. How can you say that? And like, yeah. What am I going to do, man? I got 2 more minutes and that'll be an hour. Eventually you run out of arrows. Yeah, Donald Trump is threatening witnesses. They need to either gag him, but if you gag him, then he'll challenge his indictment on First Amendment grounds. So instead of indicting him, they should just move his trial up, move it forward, so it happens sooner. I don't want to wait till March, dude, of next year. That's too long. Let's get it done in like December. Let's get it started in December. That way he can't witness tamper anymore. Is this guy angry at the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas? Now that Clarence Thomas is bribed? No, because Clarence Thomas is on team fascist. And dude is okay with fascists. He never talked bad about Republicans. He only got angry at Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. And incidentally, Republicans yeah, are like experts at false equivalence. they're the ones who planted the triggers in him to make him like get triggered by Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Bill and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Like, can't even talk to them. He just loses any coherence. It just turns into a ball of fire at that point. Fire! You can't talk with a ball of fire. It just burns you. It's just rage. That's all it is. All right. Well, that's my 1 hour. So I'm sad. I'm hoping that like how do you heal that kind of affliction? How do you heal that kind of thing? Where you can't even talk about the why of stuff. All right. Well, I'll think about it. Until next time, Pago Kiddo out. Peace. Stop.